comment below if this is your first time. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because I'm not posting that consistently, so you don't gotta worry about me blowing up your feed. But the title of this video, reflection, the ripples in the reflection, because I chose that title because when you look in the mirror, well, on the iPhone cameras, you have all the filters, and you don't really see all the curves and the wrinkles and things like that, right? You see it, but you choose to project your bias based off of what filter you have, and you're like, this is perfect, but your natural is perfect. And you look in the mirror, it's perfect. It's a flat surface. But when you see the ripples, that's when you're aware of there's a vibration, there's a frequency, there's stuff going on outside of me. There are ripples. There's ripples in my texture, ripples in myself. And the mirror is active as well. The mirror is actively changing with you, right? And is actively changing what's reflecting back what you're seeing, what you're being shown. So for my Virgo placements, the stem of this, the brain stem of this is, this is my personal shadow journal, but for you, for me, this is somewhat personal in my life. For you, might be associate. But we know those people objectively that give, seeking leverage, control, or to guilt trip you later on. So how we cope isn't necessarily healthy, because when you are coping with something, you are adjusting, you are adapting. So you can adapt for the better, but in relation to your environment, which you co-created, which we co-created, it may not be healthy for the environment. It's subjective, right? And I say that to say this, because for me, what I developed and learned from someone that was controlling and guilt trip you when they give things to you, is what I learned is to, one, detach outcomes, detach a status from my service, detach empathy or an emotional service, detach empathy from my service. So I'm a Virgo ascendant, Mars and Chiron. So my service, I view it as mechanical. I live by the phrase, a cluttered space is a cluttered mind, and so on. So in my mind, I'm just moving things out of the way. And so for that energy to be reciprocated to me and for me to see appreciation is to keep the space clean, or to expand your consciousness and your energy to a space where it is not recluttering the area that I clean. Because subconsciously I've associated that with clearing, I like to say instead of as a stem. So I've associated that with clearing energy, but not on the conscious level. So I start off on a good vibration, but I end up turning it becomes distorted to resentment. Like, it's taken forever to do this, and that's an active chaos, because everything is the cycle of order and chaos. There's a current chaos going on while I'm cleaning this space. So in my mind, I'm being mechanical. I served in the Marines. I'm a veteran, so I also associate service, the act of service, with discipline, and not the act and not the service itself being of love, being of presence, being of what have you. So that's where I see it. That's where I also don't like to receive recognition or applause or praise, or not even that I don't like it, but I feel it feels icky on me. You know what I'm saying? Icky. It feels gross on me, because something being given was weaponized growing up due to you foreseeing a guilt trip coming, and not due to you seeing a guilt trip coming. So you weaponize it to say, I don't associate that with giving me applause. I'm not doing this because it's discipline. This is not a service. This is what I do. And shout out Shout out Minions. Shout out Minions with the emojis and the gifts. The #1 gift. Shout out you. But this is what I do, discipline-wise, service-wise, servicing myself to service others. And it's like not being able, the Chiron, the wound, is not being able to acknowledge, to attach a presence to that. And the reason I brought up the service was, like I said, that was a stem. Well, flip it reverse. The stem would be the tree, and we're going into the subconscious because I'm in the cutting off the right wrist to spare the left wrist. And what I mean by that is I have a Taurus South Node and a Scorpio North Node. So the right hand wrist is associated with giving, control, willpower. So that being removed, the act of doing that is putting me into rest mode, which is uncomfortable for me because my Taurus South Node is like the rituals and spells. What's up, Tracy? The rituals and spells that I'm performing, drawing, writing, painting, planting, building things with the right hand. But where it goes deep is your intuitive brain, your intuitive wrist, and all the stuff you do with this hand responds to your left brain, logic, analyzing, rationalizing. And I'm an Aquarius moon, so this is where that energy. Well, as you can see by my hand, I'm doing all right. How are you doing? As you can see by my hand, over relying on that subconsciously, I strain my wrist in my sleep. Subconsciously, right, in the dream world. So it's like being more reliant on my left hand, using more of my intuitive, creative, astral brain to have more grace and being corrected with humility, transparency, and transforming with the left hand, receiving, intaking, magnetizing, I said I was gonna not be doing that for that stem. So to clear and regain. So receiving, learning how to receive at this present moment, learning how to be in the present moment, learning how to sit still, learning how to magnetize and attract to you. Being is important because you see in a lot of, that covers that perfectly. Seeing in the spiritual world where it's all about crafts, tangibles, materials, people are monetizing off of, which there's nothing wrong with that, but more of the spiritual sense now is in the mentalism aspect. And even that, you can get looped up into that because we're ascending not just into the 4D, into the 5D, the love dimension, the love where everything is simultaneously happening all at once, right? Like this video being all over the place, from service to being still, resting, attracting through magnetizing, and things of that nature, and service and discipline, seeing discipline and service. And it's like, when it comes to parenting, when I rest, I'm resting to stay out of the way, because it's like not negotiating, not having so much grace. Like this is going to be the physical grace, but this here is going to require the mental grace, the capacity. So the things that I'm doing with my left hand are going to attribute to the left brain and the yin yang kundalini rising type of aspect. So where it is like, thank you for the sub, Tracy. Thank you for the sub. Like I told in the beginning of the video, I'm consistent enough, like 3 days a post, so it's not blowing up. But it's like utilizing the right hand with discipline. It's like resting, like I was talking about resting. So parenting, not stepping in fully into parenting. As far as when my son and my partner, they get into it, because I feel like I will overstep due to this situation, which is why this is taking a break and a rest. I will overstep myself, and I won't reciprocate. So it's like morning routine. I can kind of be reactive because it's like my spiritual path is being a witness. All right, see you, Tracy. Thank you for joining. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for just being you. Keep being you, being in alignment. So, not being a part of that is like when my morning routine, when I'm pushing my children, or my children push me, children rush you and stuff, all kinds of stuff. So when they push me or they pull me, it's like, okay, I gotta pull my partner, who might be in a deep mood or a high vibrational mood, and I'm trying to control that versus guiding that, right? And on the other end of the same spectrum, my partner will push me, and then I will in turn push or pull the children type of energy, right? And that's like learning to counterbalance and balance with this, and being still and being grateful for my rest, because I'm not really honoring my rest. I'm resting to, like, South Node. It's the difference between Taurus being stingy and resting, and North Node Scorpio resting in power, resting in trust and intuition and being in the depths. So it's like resting to avoid something, resting to stay comfortable. I'm not honoring the rest and trust, the rest and magnetism, seeing rest as weak. And ultimately that comes back to the societal space of productivity, being productive, being seen as productive on a productive scale. Like, that association isn't healthy. And like I said, healthy based on, it's subjective to your environment, because your environment is going to be subjective, because we co-created our environments. So when you change what's healthy for your environment from what you're doing, it's subjective. And when they react and respond to you like, damn, I'm toxic, am I this, am I that? No, you're aligned with where you need to be, but you need to focus on the other environment that is being created based off of the new behavior that you are presenting. And like I said, this hand being still is honoring that, using manifestation, using words of affirmation, utilizing more energy and things of that nature. So I just wanted to get on here and drop the my personal recording of Virgo energy and serving and controlling versus discipline. And are you gripping the reins? Because when you're gripping the reins, you're really just hunkering down into your space, and you're not having a holistic view of the environment around you and allowing other influences to guide the situation. Versus when you're guiding something, you're being influenced to guide something, you are being guided yourself, and being a vessel and being holistically aware of the environment surrounding you with the guided situation. And that's all I got to say on that, because I got plenty of notes. I have taken down that are going to help heal me in that situation where Virgo service as of servicing and receiving that validation, receiving that acknowledgments, and honoring your commitment, and not doing it just to be doing it, or doing it as discipline, as a disciplinarian, or as mechanical, getting out of that funk, using that spectrum of where we're even at right now, with it about to be Virgo season. Virgo is the South Node, the previous things that are familiar to us, that we are, the South Node is about bringing balance, stepping in, stepping out, stepping in, stepping out, preparing to shed that energy while we are stepping in that energy, being aware of the micromanaging, over-analyzing, over-critiquing. Is it constructive criticism, or is it projecting your own internal constructive criticism? But when you're doing it on the external world, it's being seen as destructive. So utilizing that intuition and that spiritual clarity, and that everything happening simultaneously as one. 12th house, shout out to the light, in the 12th house of psychosis, mental psych wards, addictions, things of that nature. Because Virgo is about health. Virgo is about divergent energy and self-help and the nervous system. And when you're not having a bunch of stuff on your nerves, what's going on? The flow, like the blood cells, like the molecular cells on the micro scale, It's so micro that it's compacted into one, right? So detail oriented, you have no choice but to see a bigger picture, which, you know, that Virgo energy is going to go into that flow of that purpose. Like I said, this period right here, being still, being stoic, receiving. You are receiving, you are trusting, you are trusting even with this live right here, right now. Trusting in the associations and people, places, things that we are attracting right now by just using our voice, using the traumatic things, and then not being perfect and not being pretty. And just trusting and going with the flow, listening to your inner voice. And I've seen so much ritual and patterns in your spiritual domains or in rest. So that wraps up this video for my personal journaling. I do believe I will leave postings in my post section. So thank you all for joining. Be sure to subscribe and like the video, and just being in the area as we build this community of shadow. You know what I'm saying? Not projecting anything onto any of y'all like you should do it my way, but this is what, you know, my soul, the mission that I'm going through, and putting it out there for, you know, whether it's judgment or to be seen, like doing that with courageous, doing that with courage, doing that with vulnerability. And that's what this channel is about. That's what these shorts are about. That's what these multifaceted natures are about. So thank y'all for joining. Peace. Y'all have a good day.